Good morning, students. Today we will start a new topic, that is your correlation. Correlation and regression are the topics, very important topics. You can expect them for your long question or short question. Generally, correlation and regression both put together they are asked as long question, but separately they can be asked as short questions. Now, before entering into correlation, we will see what is a relation. Co-brothers, co-sisters, that means todi kodallu, todallulu. If two sisters got married, then the son-in-laws, both the son-in-laws, they become co-brothers. If two brothers got married, their wives, they become co-sisters. Same as that here, see here, the correlation means it is the relationship, that is the degree of relationship between two or more variables is called correlation. The degree of relationship between two or more variables is called correlation. Then what is variable? Make first class lo cheppanu, introductory class lo. Variables means these are the differences between the population. Variables is difference between the population. What are the differences between population? Some will be more in height, less, that is length is one difference. Then weight is one difference, diet is one difference, health is one difference, his characteristic features are different. Next, genetic composition is different. That means all these are variables in a single population. So, the degree of relationship between two or more variables is called correlation. Now, this correlation, it is demonstrated by Carl Pearson. You are very much acquainted with this person, that is Carl Pearson and Sir Francis Galton. See here, Carl Pearson and Sir Francis Galton, these are the two scientists, they have demonstrated this correlation technique. They first gave this correlation technique and they said that the degree of relationship between two or more variables is called correlation. And this correlation, what they have said is, this correlation, measuring the degree of correlation between the variables, that measuring of the degree of correlation is known as coefficient of correlation. That is, the measurement of correlation is known as coefficient of correlation, and this is denoted by letter small r. Now, this correlation, it may range from +1 to -1. See here, it ranges from +1 to -1. Then if it is +1, if it is -1, or if it is 0, what is the meaning? If the correlation between the variables is +1, see here, the correlation is a positive correlation. That means both are having very much related to each other. Next, if the correlation is -1, it is a negative type of correlation. It is a negative correlation. That means the variables are not that much related. Next, if the correlation is 0, then it indicates that they are not correlated, that is no correlation. There is no correlation between the variables. That means the variables are not at all correlated, or the variables are not correlated. This is about the introduction for correlation. So, correlation is the degree of relationship between two or more variables is called correlation, and this was first demonstrated by Carl Pearson and Sir Francis Galton in 19th century. Next, and this, the measurement of coefficient, the measurement of correlation is known as coefficient of correlation, and this is denoted by R. And next, it ranges, correlation ranges from +1 to -1. If it is +1, the correlation is positive. If it is -1, the correlation is negative. If it is 0, there is no correlation. Okay. Now, see here, this correlation, it is of many types. One is positive and negative. Second one is partial and total. Third one is simple and multiple. And the fourth one is linear and non-linear. Okay, linear and non-linear. These are the four types of correlation. These are the four types of correlation. Okay. Now, coming to the first one, let us see what is positive and negative correlation. In that we will see first positive correlation. The positive correlation means it is a type of correlation in that both the variables are very much closely associated with each other. They are very much related to each other. First one. Second point. Second point is that the variables are, if one variable increases, the other variable is also increases. If one variable increases, the other variable also increases. Third point. One variable is both the variables are directly proportionate to each other. నేను ఇప్పుడు ఏదో మాట్లాడేశాను, మేడం ఏదో చెప్పేశారు, అర్థం కాలేదనుకుంటారు. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఎగ్జాంపుల్తో చెప్తాను. పాజిటివ్ కోరిలేషన్. ఇన్ పాజిటివ్ కోరిలేషన్, సీ హియర్, రెయిన్ఫాల్ and your yield of rice. Okay, rainfall and yield of rice both are interrelated to each other, both are related to each other. There is a correlation between there is a correlation factor or correlation between rainfall and yield of rice. Now see here, in this rainfall and yield of rice, we know that both are related to each other. When both are related to each other, if rainfall is high, the yield is also high. See here, if rainfall is high, the yield is also high. When rainfall is low, the yield is also low. Okay, that means చాలా వర్షాలు పడితే పంటలు బాగా పండుతాయి, వర్షాలు పడకపోతే పంటలు తగ్గుతాయి. ఒకవేళ వర్షాలు మామూలుగా పడితే పంటలు కూడా మామూలుగానే పండుతాయి. దట్ మీన్స్ if rainfall is high, the yield is high. If rainfall is low, the yield is also low. That means if one is increasing, the other is also increasing. If one is decreasing, the other is also decreasing. Let us see another example. See here, weight and nutrition, or other way around, nutrition and weight. If you are giving high nutritious food, the weight of the animal increases. If you are giving low nutritious food, the weight of the animal will be decreased. That means if one is increasing, the other is also increasing. If one is decreasing, the other is also decreasing. So that means rainfall and yield of rice both are directly proportional to each other. Rainfall and yield of rice are directly proportional to each other, and the nutritious food and weight of the animal, they are also directly proportional to each other. Now let us see what is positive. Positive correlation is a type of correlation. In this, the correlation is taking place between the two variables. When one variable increases, the other variable also increases. First point. Second one, if one variable decreases, the other variable also decreases. Second point. Third point, the variables are directly proportional to each other. The variables are directly proportionate to each other. Third point. Fourth one, the variables are closely related to each other. This is known as a positive correlation. That means the correlation is +1. Okay, the correlation is here +1. Now coming to the negative correlation, we know that, see here, antibiotic and bacteria or microorganism. See here, when you have some bacterial disease or viral fever, then when you go to a doctor, he will prescribe you antibiotic. If low antibiotic is given, that is low dose of antibiotic is given, the bacteria will be growing only. If the antibiotic dose is increased, see here, if the antibiotic dose is increased, the bacterial growth will be decreased. Ante enti, see here, when the person is suffering with a microbial disease, when the antibiotic dose is increased, immediately the bacterial concentration decreases and the bacteria will die. That means the antibiotic, when antibiotic dose is increased, the bacterial growth diminishes or decreases. This is, that is, if one is increasing, the other is decreasing, then it is known as a negative type of correlation. That is, negative correlation is the, if one is increasing, one variable is increasing, if one variable is increasing, see here, if one variable is increasing, the other variable is decreasing. First one. Next one, one variable is antibiotic is inversely proportionate to bacteria. That means the antibiotic dose is inversely proportionate to bacteria, that bacterial growth. That means, see here, both the fact variables are inversely proportionate to each other. Ikkada both are directly proportionate to each other, both are inversely proportionate to each other. Next one, these, the negative correlation, it consists of -1. Correlation is -1, that is, here the correlation is a negative type of correlation, here the correlation is represented by -1. This is about your positive and negative correlation. పాజిటివ్ కోరిలేషన్ అంటే రెండిటి మధ్య ఈక్వల్గా ఒకేలాంటి రిలేషన్ ఉంది, ఒకటి పెరిగితే ఇంకోటి పెరుగుతుంది, ఒకటి తగ్గితే ఇంకోటి తగ్గుతుంది, అందుకోసమని రెండు డైరెక్ట్లీ ప్రపోర్షనల్ టు ఈచ్ అదర్, దాని కోరిలేషన్ ఈజ్ రిప్రజెంటెడ్ బై +1. నెగిటివ్ అయితే ఒకటి పెరిగితే ఇంకోటి తగ్గుతోంది, కాబట్టి రెండు ఇన్వర్స్లీ ప్రపోర్షనేట్ టు ఈచ్ అదర్, దాని కోరిలేషన్ ఈజ్ రిప్రజెంటెడ్ బై -1. ఇస్ ఇట్ ఓకే? నౌ కమింగ్ టు ది పార్షియల్ అండ్ టోటల్. పార్షియల్ అండ్ టోటల్ అందరికీ తెలుసు, పార్షియల్ అంటే కొన్ని, టోటల్ అంటే మొత్తం. సో సపోజ్ ఇన్ దిస్ ఐ విల్ గివ్ వన్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. ఏజ్ ఆఫ్ ది బేబీ, వెయిట్ ఆఫ్ ది బేబీ, నెక్స్ట్ హెల్త్ ఆఫ్ ది బేబీ అండ్ ఏజ్ ఆఫ్ ఫుడ్ ఆఫ్ ది ఆర్ డైట్ ఆఫ్ ది బేబీ. ఓకే, దేర్ ఆర్ 4 things: ఏజ్, వెయిట్, health and diet. These are the 4 things that are present in a child. Now when you go to a doctor, partial correlation means if you are taking 2 variables, see here, if you are taking 2 variables only, if you are taking 2 variables at a time, and that is known as partial correlation. If you are taking 2 variables at a time, then it is known as partial correlation, or simply you can call it as you are taking only 2 variables. If you are taking only 2 variables, it is known as partial correlation. If you are taking care of all the variables, and it is known as total variation. అంటే ఏంటి? పార్షియల్ వేరియేషన్స్ అంటే నేను ఇంత ఒక పాపను తీసుకొని డాక్టర్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళగానే డాక్టర్ ఏజ్ ఎంత, వెయిట్ ఎంత చూసుకున్నాడు అంతే, దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ పార్షియల్ కోరిలేషన్. కానీ ఇంకొక డాక్టర్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్తే ఇలా కాదమ్మా అని సెకండ్ ఒపీనియన్ అని ఇంకో డాక్టర్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్తే ఆయన ఏజ్కి రిలేటెడ్ వెయిట్, ఆ వెయిట్ ఉండాలి అంటే మంచి హెల్త్ ఉండాలి, మంచి హెల్త్ ఉండాలంటే డైట్ ఉండాలి, కాబట్టి అవన్నీ రిలేటెడ్. కాబట్టి వీ హ్యావ్ టు చెక్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ బిఫోర్ గోయింగ్ ఫర్ హర్ ఆర్ హిజ్ ఎనాలిసిస్. వాళ్ళకి ఏమైందో తెలుసుకోవడానికి, వాళ్ళకి అసలు ఉన్న ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటో తెలుసుకొని ఎందుకు వచ్చింది డిసీజు లేకపోతే ఎందుకు వచ్చింది జ్వరం అని తెలుసుకోవాలంటే వాళ్ళు రోజు ఏం పెడుతున్నారు పాపకి, హెల్త్ ఎలా మెయింటైన్ అవుతుంది, ఏజ్ ఎంత ఉంది, వెయిట్ ఎంత ఉంది, ఓకే ఇవన్నీ ఇట్లా లేవు అంటే ఇదంతా తగ్గింది అంటే కనుక ఏజ్ 10 years ఉంది కానీ వెయిట్ మాత్రం ఓన్లీ 6 kgs ఉంది అంటే ఏంటి అంటే హెల్త్ ఎందుకు బాగాలేదు, బికాజ్ ఆఫ్ డైట్. మంచి డైట్ పెట్టట్లేదు కాబట్టి వెయిట్ పెరగలేదు, లేకపోతే పాప బాబో తినట్లేదు కాబట్టి వెయిట్ తగ్గింది అంటే ఏంటి, ఆల్ ది థింగ్స్ ఆర్ కన్సిడర్డ్, దెన్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నోన్ యాజ్ టోటల్ కోరిలేషన్. ఇఫ్ బిట్వీన్ 2 variables only 2 variables are taken into consideration and their correlation is tested, then it is known as partial correlation. Total correlation means all the variables are taken into consideration for correlation, then it is known as your total correlation. Okay, now coming to the simple and multiple. In this simple correlation, see here, simple correlation and multiple correlation. All of you know this. What is multiple? Multiple means many, and in that, as we are using simple, we can say that only few are taken. See here, in the simple correlation, same example I am giving: age, weight, health, and third one is, fourth one is diet. These four things are taken into consideration. Now coming to the simple. Simple correlation is a type of correlation where you are checking the correlation of two variables at a time. That means I am not saying that only two variables. Partial అని చెప్పాను, ఓన్లీ టూ వేరియబుల్స్ ఆర్ టేకెన్ ఇంటూ కన్సిడరేషన్. ఈ నాలుగు ఉన్న రెండు మాత్రమే నేను కన్సిడర్ చేస్తే దాన్ని పార్షియల్ అంటారు. సింపుల్ అయితే ఏంటి అంటే రెండు మాత్రం ఒక్కసారి మాత్రం రెండే తీసుకుంటాను అంటే కన్ఫ్యూజన్ లేకుండా. ఐ విల్ టేక్ టూ వేరియబుల్స్ ఎట్ ఎ టైమ్ అండ్ ఐ విల్ స్టార్ట్ చెకింగ్ ది కోరిలేషన్ బిట్వీన్ ది వేరియబుల్స్. లేదు ఏజ్ వెయిట్, లేకపోతే వెయిట్ హెల్త్, లేకపోతే ఏజ్ డైట్, లేకపోతే వెయిట్ డైట్. దట్ మీన్స్ I will take two variables. That means two variables are considered for correlation at a time. That is known as simple correlation. Multiple correlation means more than two variables are taken into consideration for correlation at a time. That means suppose I am taking age, weight and diet. These three variables I am taking into consideration, then it is known as multiple correlation at a time. Next, age, health and weight. Next, age, diet, health. That means three variables or more than two variables are taken into consideration for the measurement of correlation is known as multiple correlation. Simple correlation means at a time only two variables are taken. Only two variables are taken into consideration, or only two variables are studied at a time for correlation to measure the correlation, or two variables are taken at a time to measure the correlation, then it is called as simple correlation. More than two variables are taken into consideration for the measurement of correlation, it is known as multiple correlation. Is it okay, all of you? Now coming to the linear and non-linear correlation. In linear correlation, see here, linear correlation means, see here, I will give one example, linear and non-linear. See here, rainfall and yield of rice. See here, rainfall and yield of rice. What example I have given in the first, positive and negative, I am giving the same one. In positive, what the example that I have given, I am again repeating here also. In linear and non-linear, see here, 1919, 1920, see here, or లేకపోతే ఇంకా ఈజీ మీ కొత్త ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ చెప్తాం. 2019, 2020, 2018, these are the years. Here I got 2 centimeters rain, I got 30 bags per acre. Okay, next 2019 I got then also 2 centimeters rain, same thing I got. 2020 2 centimeters rain, same thing I got. That means if the variables are showing uniform correlation, then it is known as a linear correlation. And non-linear correlation means, see here, this year I got 2 centimeters rain, but here I got, just like first 2018 I got 30 bags per acre. Then 2019 I got same 2 centimeters rain, but I got 18 bags per acre. Next again 2020 I got 2 centimeters rain in the same season, then I got 20 bags per acre. That means these are not uniform. That means if the two variables that are used for correlation, or the two variables they are not correlated with each other, or if one they are not showing uniform correlation, then it is known as a non-linear correlation. Linear correlation means if the correlation between the variables is uniform, then it is known as linear correlation. Non-linear correlation means if the variables are showing different type of, that is the correlation is not uniform, then it is known as a non-linear correlation. Now as it is saying that linear and non-linear, if you draw a graph like this, see here, if you draw a graph like this, x-axis, y-axis, x-axis, y-axis, see here. Now in the linear you will get a straight line. When you put the points and you start joining them, you will get a straight line. But in non-linear, if you put a dots and join it, you will get like this. That means the points, that is the line, is not linear and it will be a zigzag type of line, or it is a curved line. You may get a curved line like this. That means a parabolic curve you are getting. So in linear you will get, in linear correlation you get a straight line joining all the points of correlation, and non-linear you will get it is not a straight line and you are getting a curved line or a curve like thing is you are getting, and it is not straight. This is known as your correlation. So correlation is nothing but the relationship between two or more variables, that is the degree of relationship between two or more variables is called correlation. Now this correlation is demonstrated by Carl Pearson and Sir Francis Galton in 19th century, and the measurement of correlation is known as coefficient of correlation. Now this is your thing. Now coming to the regression, see here, we will see next one, that is regression. Regression means going back. Regression is going back. What is going back? See here, regression means going back. Regression means going back, and this regression, it is nothing but identi ante degree of relation. It is known as degree of relationship, and this is known as average relationship. రెండు ఒకలాగానే ఉంటాయి కానీ కాదు, చూడండి. This is known as degree of relationship. This is known as average relationship between two or more variables, and this was demonstrated by Sir Francis Galton in the same 19th century. Now see here, in the second half of, or something in the half of 19th century, he demonstrated this regression. Now this regression, it consists of two variables. One is known as known variable, or it is known as independent variable. This next one is, it consists of unknown variable, or it is known as dependent variable. There are two types of variables: known variable or independent variable or known variable, dependent variable or unknown variable. See here, now coming to the correlation. Now regression. The independent variable is denoted by letter X and dependent variable is denoted by letter Y. This is independent variable is also known as, see here, I will write here, regressor. This is known as regressed. This is known as explanator. This can also be called as, okay, see here, the independent variable is also known as known variable or regressor variable or explanator, and it is denoted by letter alphabet X. Now unknown, the dependent variable is also known as unknown variable or regressed variable, or it is also known as explained variable, and it is denoted by Y, letter Y. Now see here, these independent variables ante enti, dependent variables enti, we will see one example. Suppose, see here, your CGPA is something and you know that it is related to your GRE score or your MSc entrance score. So the CGPA లేదు అంటే ఇది తీసేయండి MSET. See here, this MSET అంటే ఏంటి, మీ CGPA ఆఫ్ ఇంటర్మీడియట్ అండ్ MSET మార్క్ స్కోర్ రావడానికి రెండు కలిపితే మీ ర్యాంక్ రావడానికి హెల్ప్ అవుతుంది MSET ర్యాంక్. CGPA is related to MSET rank, you know that. But if you know that CGPA is 8.32, your CGPA is 8.32, and you want to know that which rank you will get in your MSET entrance examination. That means CGPA and MSET examination scores, they are CGPA score and MSET examination rank, they are interrelated to each other, all of you know that. But the CGPA is 8.32, then what is MSET score, MSET rank? You can't explain. For the explanation of the MSET rank, అయితే అందాజాగా మనకి ఏ ర్యాంక్ వస్తుంది అని తెలుసుకోవడానికి tentatively what rank you will get, to recognize it you have to approach for regression. That means regression help you to know the MSET rank based on your CGPA score. Now, so this is known as independent variable or known variable, and this is known as a dependent variable or unknown variable. See here, this is known as a dependent variable or unknown variable. Okay, that means MSET rank is unknown variable that you want to know with the help of regression, and CGPA already you know your CGPA because inter results will come before the MSET ranking. So this is known as this one. Next, see here, BP, blood pressure and age. We know that both are related to each other. When the blood pressure and the age are related to each other, suppose the age of a person is 60, what should be the blood pressure? లేదు, ఇక్కడ చూడండి. If the age of the person is 40, okay, then see here, what you can say is the age of a person is 40, then the BP should be 80/120 or something. We know that it is normal BP. Now, if the age of a person is 60, what should be this? That means both are related. If the age is 40, the blood group BP is this much. If the age is 60, what should be the BP, blood pressure? To know this blood pressure of this person, you have to take the help of regression. Now, see here, 60 is the age. This is known as a known variable or independent variable or known variable, and this BP you want to check with the help of your regression, then it is known as dependent variable or unknown variable. This is known as X and this is known as Y. Is it okay? Now, see here, based on that you can explain this regression. Now, regression types of regression. Regression is of, see, I have already written the types of regression are of 3 types. That is, one is partial and total, second one is simple and multiple, third one is linear and non-linear regressions. What is partial? All of you know that partial regression means same total. ఇక్కడ చూడండి, ఏజ్, వెయిట్, ఇక్కడే ఉంది, ఏజ్, వెయిట్, హెల్త్, డైట్, దీస్ ఆర్ ది 4 things. In that, see here, partial regression means, in this regression what you will be doing is, see here, in partial regression, total means all are taken into consideration for your calculation. Now, partial means you will be taking only 2, not all. You will be taking only 2, and you are talking about your weight. You are going for the checking of your, if you know the age, what should be the weight, you are checking with the help of regression. That is known as partial. But total means you are taking all of them, you know these, and you want to check this diet. That means you are checking, you are taking all the factors into consideration, you are going for regression calculation. That is known as total. Simple means, see here, if 4 variables are there, in that you will be taking 2 at a time. Ante enti, age, weight, these 2 you are taking. If the age is 6 years, what should be the weight? We know that age and weight are correlated or interrelated, or you can say that they are related to each other. There is an average relationship between age and weight. If the baby is 6 years baby, then what should be the weight of the baby? You have to calculate with the help of regression. Then take age and diet. both are interrelated to each other, how to check it. So in the next class, students, we will go for the types of regression in detail, and today we will stop here, and that is tomorrow or day after tomorrow, whatever it may be. In the next class we are going to see this regression. Thank you, students.